Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
I
Oh,
put pink on just for the show tonight because I didn't wear pink today all day.
you've been wearing pink all week, rumor has it.
I haven't. And like I said, I'm not sure I'm okay, but I at least put pink on tonight. And I'm not feeling the pink, but I put it on hoping that it would seep into my blood.
I just thought your blood was pink instead of red.
I
It's
thought it
just
was too, but
pink.
apparently this week my blood doesn't know what's going on. But hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm here. I'm alive.
Yay.
Are you still wearing your cute little socks?
Yes, I
Are they
am.
helping?
I think. I don't know. I haven't taken them off yet. So I think so. They don't hurt as much as they have the last 2 days. So I do think they've been
Okay,
helpful. My
that's good.
cute llama old lady socks.
Hey, you know what? They're not old lady socks because 'cause they're really cute. Nobody would know what kind of socks they were if you didn't tell them.
That's probably true. My outfit today is hilarious because I've been wearing the dress we wore for our live Ohio
Uh-huh.
show. And then I have on my compression socks, right? The skirt doesn't like the dress doesn't go all the way to like the floor, you know? So then I have these like llama compression socks on with my like winter booties because
Okay, the
it's
fact that
cold.
you're wearing winter booties
I
when
always
it was
wear them.
100 here today is just totally
It was a high of 64 today, maybe
okay.
67. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold.
See, I
Anyway.
agree with Lady in Gray. Just say you have cute socks. Nobody knows.
Right?
And they
Right?
aren't old lady socks. That's right, because you're not old, so they can't be old lady
That's
socks.
true. That's right.
Yeah.
Cool old person. It's fine. Anyway,
And
why don't you pick us
hello
up?
to everybody that's in the chat. And mostly just I want to welcome everyone to another episode of True Crime and Wine Time, the podcast where we uncork the most jaw-dropping true crime stories while sipping something smooth to take the
Mm.
edge off. And guys, I'm going to just warn you, you want to pour a glass, lock your doors, and we're going to uncork the truth behind some of the darkest crimes. But with this case tonight, this is going to be the rant episode, I've decided.
This one and the next one. The
If
next
you
one's going
do
to be
not
even
like
rantier.
hearing me and Mama rant, might be a good time to just hit mute.
Yeah, but they're justified.
They are
Justified rants. You'll
justified.
see as we tell the story.
I mean, I
Don't
think
you
they're
worry.
justified. I don't want to tell anyone else what to think.
Yeah, that's true. I won't, but your opinion will be wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. All opinions are always welcome, no
Yes.
matter what. Everybody's respectful here. So, anyway, before we get into it, thanks for watching tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, you guys know the drill. Press the like button, it lets everybody know that we are live. Subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or drop an episode. You can also become a member of our YouTube channel, which comes with all sorts of exclusive perks. We're going to be dropping some big news in the next couple of weeks or so about membership perks and tiers, but lips are sealed. Secrets, secrets, secrets. All you got to do is click the join button and pick which tier works best for you. And if you're listening to this as a pod, please leave a rating, download, a review, whatever it is on whichever platform you use. Do it. It helps our little pod out tremendously and it's free. So we love that. I love free because I am cheap.
I'm
So I
like,
love that.
free is the best price.
The best, the best.
The
Terry,
best.
why don't you tell us what we will be covering
So
tonight?
tonight, guys, we are bringing you part 2 of the Etan Patz story. And I want to warn you guys ahead of time that this episode will discuss child sexual abuse, not in detail, of course. And if
Mm-mm.
you find that subject hard or disturbing or it's triggering, then this is not going to be the episode for you. And guys, that is okay. We will see you next time.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We will. And I can tell you there will be rants, a whole lot of them. A lot.
I guarantee there will be a lot of rants tonight. But before we start tonight's show, I want to tell everyone that I will be live in downtown Bastrop, Texas, which is this charming little cute town outside of Austin on September 13th at the CC Wine Co. and Company. My eyes are like so blurry. And
In fairness, you went to the eye doctor today. So.
I did. I did. And I will be covering the Stacey Stites murder along with the controversy around the conviction of Rodney Reed. Now, this is a small venue, so it will be an intimate conversation with friends and great wine. And guys, tickets are on sale now. And I'm kind of excited about this because it's a case that, it's a lot. I
I've
mean,
heard.
I even reached out to Kim Kardashian because she met with Rodney Reed. Not that she will ever respond, but hey, you don't know if you don't ask, right?
Terry will literally reach out to anybody.
Yeah, I
And
just
I
reached
love her
out
for it.
and said, "Hey, would love to know why you think he's innocent."
Yeah.
So, but
And you guys, if you're members of our channel, like I just talked about, you can watch this live show. It'll stream to all of our members only. All of our live in-person shows get streamed. So just another exciting reason to become a member of our channel and help support us there. So
yeah, and there will be Q&A with this because the venue is so intimate there in the tasting room. There's gonna be a lot of interaction, I think. So it'll be fun. Now, and tonight, I am even drinking a bottle that I picked up from CC Wine & Co.
Oh.
So it is, and I'm gonna have to put on my glasses. I'm enjoying a Jean Laurent Blanc de Noir champagne, and they say it wraps around the palate with rich, resonant fruit, honey, almonds, dried flowers, and spices, a hint of ash, smoke, and licorice develop in the glass, adding further complexity. And guys,
Wow.
I taste a little bit of smoke, a little bit of licorice, and I taste honeydew melon.
Interesting. That is a lot of different flavors
It
to put in
is,
champagne.
but
That's
it doesn't all
interesting.
come at once. It's like it starts with one and then it ends with another, and I kinda like it.
I love that. I
What are
love
you
that. Well,
drinking?
tonight I'm drinking, well, I'm almost done. Don't judge me. I'm drinking
We're
Oliver
only
Winery.
in.
Well, I had a glass when I was doing court earlier
Okay.
and then with dinner. So, you know. Anyway, I'm drinking Oliver Winery Camelot Mead Orange Blossom Honey Wine. Whoa, that's quite the sentence there, but it's quite delicious and smooth. I think it's pretty good.
What does
It
it
is
taste
rather
like?
sweet. I don't know. It tastes like it has the honey after
Does
notes to
it?
it, more than orange. I don't really taste any of the orange blossom. Oh, I
It
just
sounds
realized
sweet.
I had this on my floor like a dingus, and there was dog hair that touched the bottom. I don't like
Oh,
it, right?
it's
It's
just
Keto.
Zoe hair. It's okay.
Oh, it's Keto.
Oh, it's Keto hair.
You know, her and her hair. But no, it's delicious. I think it's smooth. It's not too heavy. I was like, oh, mead, but it's not. It is kind of like a light mead now that I think about it. If you've ever had mead, which is, whew, it'll do the job. Let me tell you what.
I haven't. I don't even know what
Oh,
meat is.
it's very strong, very strong
Okay.
stuff. Uh,
Yes, Captain Corkscrew, she does like them sweet wines,
me
and the
too.
reason why is because she is so sweet, she needs that to keep her sweetness level up.
That's it. Yep. I don't know what you're buttering me up for, but I like it. Please keep doing it. All right. Well, you guys, with that, let's do a quick recap of where we left off in the Etan Patz story, shall we?
Yes.
Tara.
So, guys, in our last episode, we covered the disappearance of Etan Patz, who was 6 years old and vanished on his walk to catch a school bus in New York City. Etan's body has never been found, and for decades, this case went unsolved. Though it was no secret the main suspect was a man named Jose Ramos, who at the time was in a relationship with Sandy Harmon, who is a caregiver hired by the Pates family. And that little face just breaks
Mm,
my heart every
I know.
time I freaking look at it.
It's so cute. I hate this story so much. Well, after Aton's disappearance, he would go on and spend several decades incarcerated for sexually abusing young boys, even though he seemed like the most likely candidate. And Aton's parents won a $2.4 million wrongful death lawsuit against him. He was never charged for the kidnapping and murder of Etan Patz. Somehow, that's what happened. Now we ended
Shows
that.
you the difference between criminal and civil.
Yes, very
The
much
burden
so.
of proof is much lower.
That is true. Now, we ended that episode talking about the reopening of Aton's case in 2010. What is that, 40 years ish later?
Ish.
30 ish. I have to remember something like that. Anyway, they reopened the case in 2010 and eventually would lead to the arrest of Pedro Hernandez. So let's start there
We
tonight,
will.
shall we?
And just a reminder, we don't math here at True Crime and Wine Time. Okay.
No, no.
So during the 2009 Manhattan District Attorney's race, Aton's father, Stan Pates, had met with different candidates, asking them to reopen the case and bring justice to whoever kidnapped and murdered their son so that they could get closure. Now, Stan and Julie, after all these decades, still lived in their Prince Street loft and they never changed their phone number just in case their little boy called home.
Oh,
Guys, that just. Mm.
yeah, it breaks my heart too. Now, the winner of that election was Cyrus Cy Vance Jr., who kept his word to Stan Pates and officially reopened Eton Pates's case on May 25th, 2010. Vance met multiple times with the Pateses and the former federal prosecutor, Stu Grabois, who we talked about in episode 1 of the story, who was hell-bent on Jose Ramos being the man responsible for Aton's death. Just led the cause.
Yeah, but I also want to point out not only was reopening Aton's case a campaign promise, so was the calling for the mandatory videotaping of interrogations in New York to
Hmm.
prevent wrongful convictions, which, guys, is very important to keep in mind.
Super important. Super important.
Yes, you are so right. Their life is forever on hold waiting on that call. I mean,
Can you
think of all
imagine?
the people who don't even have home numbers anymore and they keep it just in case.
Just in case. Well, with this renewed investigation, the focus was not on Jose Ramos. Instead, it was on Othniel Miller. Now, he was a carpenter with a basement workshop located between the Pates' apartment and the school bus stop, and he had done work in the Pates home. Interestingly enough, his workshop floor had been reconcreted around the time of Aton's disappearance. What? Hmm. Miller himself and his workshop had never really been significantly investigated. One reason investigators from the time recalled was that Julie Pates described him as a family friend. Hmm, okay. And you see that little stairwell there where that bike is parked?
Mhm.
Down there
On there.
was his workshop. I think, I'm
Uh,
pretty sure.
yeah. Now, I do want to say, guys, we have to remember when this was. Okay. So, no judgment on the family or anything, because back then we trusted our neighbors, we trusted family friends. It wasn't until later that people started realizing that sometimes the evil is right there.
Most of the
Now,
time.
yeah, as I say, we're fighting most of the time, right?
Mhm.
With him being a family friend, he was also a familiar person to Aton. The night before Aton disappeared, Miller spent approximately 45 minutes alone with Aton in the basement workshop. He
Hmm.
later told the FBI that he had been changing out of his work clothes when he gave $1 to Etan in exchange for helping him with the carpentry. He also admitted to having sexual intercourse with a girl who was approximately 10 years old in 1979.
Super
Now, guys,
great. Mm.
if that's not enough red flags for you, guess what? Jose Ramos not only frequented Miller's workshop and did odd jobs for him, he had a freaking key to that basement as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Can I just say, there are so many people in this story, in this case, that are perverts.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like a
all in
lot.
one little area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's part of the reason why this also makes me fired up. But
Yeah,
we'll get there. We will
yes.
definitely get there. Now, on April 19th, 2012, the FBI brought a scent dog to Miller's basement at 127B Prince Street, near the Pates' home. The dog was trained to detect the odor of human decomposition even after many years. The scent dog indicated by barking that he detected the scent of human decomposition in 2 areas of Miller's basement. The next day, Miller was brought to the basement and told that the dog had alerted to the scent, to which he replied, "What if the body was moved?" Hmm.
I mean,
Hmm.
am I the only one that finds that question odd? Who asked that question?
Right? Right?
I mean, who asked that question?
Mm-hmm.
Now, also because this was done in 2012, what if it wasn't Aton's body? What if it was someone else's?
I thought the same thing.
Okay, yeah. Now, for several days, authorities stopped traffic in Lower Manhattan. And I'm going to tell you, Lower Manhattan, I bet you, was pissed. Just going to say it because if you've ever been to Manhattan, you do not need traffic being stopped. Now, Miller's former workshop was excavated. Despite the scent dog's positive identification, investigators announced that there was nothing conclusive found, and Othniel Miller was never charged in connection with Etan Patz' disappearance. Othniel Miller died January 25th, 2020, at the age of 83.
I'm sorry. I just do not feel like they investigated him
I,
enough at all to just be like, nope, it's
I,
fine. We're done here. What?
I, like I said, what if it was another? You do not get decomp smell unless there was decomp there. Something happened.
Yeah. Yeah. So that pisses me off. Now, the excavation at 127B Prince Street had drawn an extensive amount of media attention for good reason. This is a huge, high profile case here we have going on. Now, after seeing the press coverage, a man named Jose Lopez, who lived in New Jersey, reached out to investigators because of rumors that his brother in law, Pedro Hernandez, was involved in the disappearance of Etan Patz. There's a lot of people with the same name in this, too,
Yeah,
like
there
many
is.
of our cases.
Yeah. Now, I just want to remind you, especially because I do midday missing, that it is tips that help solve cases,
Mhm.
even many years later. Even if it's just a rumor, even if you're not sure, call in the tip. So, I mean, I say good job for calling in about your brother in law. Just don't do it if you're mad at somebody and trying to get them in trouble. Okay. Now, just a few days later, almost 2 years to the day, Aton's case had been reopened. On May 24th, 2012, New York Police Commissioner Raymond Kelly announced that a man was in custody who had implicated himself in Aton's disappearance.
Hmm.
Okay, guys. A law enforcement official identified the man as 51-year-old Pedro Hernandez, a disabled former construction worker of Maple Shade, New Jersey, and said that he had confessed.
Oh, wow.
Okay, get ready for the rants.
It just kind of fell into their lap like that. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, now up until this point, nearly 30 years since Etan's disappearance, Pedro's life was quiet and arrest free. It's important. Pedro was one of 12 children born to a Puerto Rican immigrant family who moved to the United States in the early 70s. He grew up in New Jersey, attended Woodrow Wilson High School, but he did not end up graduating.
Now, guys, in 1979, Pedro Hernandez was 18 years old, living in New York City and working at a little neighborhood bodega right beside Etan's bus stop. Now, Pedro was interviewed in 1979 along with other employees at the bodega, which had also been thoroughly searched, but he was never identified or treated as a person of interest or a suspect.
Yeah, and he's 18 years old. So, anyway, he ended up leaving New York City and returned back to New Jersey and found work doing construction. In 1993, though, during his career, he got injured and was in and out of medical facilities for years because of that. He was also very religious, always sitting in the second row at church and attending prayer groups regularly.
Now, Pedro got married to Daisy Rivera, and I'm not sure if that's her maiden name or she got remarried, but they had 2 children together. Now, their relationship was rather volatile, and at one point, she had obtained a protective order against him.
Yeah, she says, quote, I divorced him because he was too possessive, too violent, disrespectful, Riviera said during a series of interviews with ProPublica. To him, everybody is a whore. Everybody's, I don't think I could say that word on YouTube, slander or what's a slur for gay man. Everybody's a lesbian. He was so judgmental. I think he had a mental problem, but I just dealt with it because I thought it was normal. He never beat me like with a bloody nose and black eyes, she said. He was more verbally abusive.
Okay, mimes are like clowns. They are just as bad, okay?
How did I
Just
get into
saying.
mimes?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Now, after their marriage ended, Daisy was constantly taking him to court over him not paying child support. Now, guys, Pedro doesn't sound great, but let me tell you, Daisy was a little spicy too.
Mm.
Okay. When Pedro remarried in 1988 to a woman named Rosemary, who would still be his wife at the time of his arrest, Daisy showed up uninvited to the wedding as a reminder to Pedro about his responsibilities to their children.
Yeah.
And Daisy, ma'am, this is not a good look for you. And I'm going to say it's not the role model you want to be for your kids, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's not great.
That,
Mm-mm.
that's all creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and very selfish, I think. I mean, come on. Anyway, Pedro and Rosemary would go on to have a daughter together, Becky, who was 23 at the time of his 2012 arrest. Rosemary would later tell a psychiatric expert hired by the defense about her and Pedro's relationship over the last 25 plus years. Pedro did abuse cocaine in the late 80s and early 90s, and this led to psychological and sometimes physical abuse by Pedro. I mean, it usually does.
As it usually does. And I'm going to say a lot of people during that time were using cocaine.
I
Yeah.
mean, it was the 80s,
It
so
was. So she said every time Pedro would grow frustrated or angry, he would hit me in the head. She also talked about how one time he punched her and wrapped a vacuum cord around her neck. Oh, Pedro.
mm,
There was also a time in 2003 when they were in the car together and Pedro purposely tried to wreck the car, telling Rosemary, I'm going to kill us all. I hate my life.
yeah, kind of effed up.
Yeah.
Well, Rosemary also told the psychiatric expert that after Pedro stopped doing cocaine, their relationship improved significantly, which go figure, that makes sense. Her attorney told the public that she continues to support him 1,000% and believes that it is ridiculous to have charged her husband with the murder.
Now, while Pedro had done many bad things, Rosemary did not think he was a child killer. As a matter of fact, Rosemary helped the defense as much as she could, including appearing at several hearings in the case.
Yeah, even Pedro's ex wife, Daisy, insisted repeatedly to ProPublica that Pedro never talked about hurting a child when they were together. Quote, if he said, listen, Daisy, I have a confession to make. I killed a 6-year-old child. I have it in my heart that I wouldn't have gone forward with the marriage, she said. I wouldn't have proceeded with the marriage. Why would you hurt a 6-year-old child? Now, these statements Daisy made to ProPublica were made before Pedro's first trial, which again, I think is important to note. So,
Now, in a filing from the state regarding bail, the prosecution makes a claim about possible sexual abuse towards a family member when he was a child. They do not go into any further details other than a footnote that says that Pedro admits the behavior and that a family member and neighbor confirmed it, but the alleged victim denies it.
hmm,
I mean, sounds kind of thin.
hmm.
Pedro's attorney, Harvey Fishbein, said that Pedro had told him that the allegations arose from his childhood when he and relatives were sleeping in the same room.
Yeah, it doesn't really sound like the other guy's situation.
Yeah, no.
you know? And there's nothing confirming it. So you're obsessed with the way Terry says further. I love
Glad
it.
I can entertain.
I love that. I love it too. Now, Pedro did have an extensive history of mental illness and a low IQ, all of which doctors documented before 1979. Doctors said that he had obsessive thoughts, hallucinations, and borderline impaired intelligence. Doctors had diagnosed him with a myriad of disorders, including psychotic disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, chronic mental illness, and memory impairment. Then, between 1992 and 2014, various intelligent tests placed Pedro's IQ between 67 and 76, meaning that Pedro was functioning at the lowest level of intelligence compared to other people, which let's make a note of that for later.
And I said in the chat, maybe he used the drugs and the cocaine to self medicate.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's very common. For sure. It didn't help, though. I
Didn't
can
help
tell
for
you that.
dang sure.
If that's what you're suffering from, that is only going to make things worse.
Yeah.
But for sure.
Yeah. Now, in the decades that followed his 1979 interview with police, Pedro allegedly told multiple people, including various church members at a religious retreat, his neighbor, Mark Pike, and his first wife, Daisy, that he had killed someone in New York City. But none of
Well,
them ran to the police. I just need to throw that in there.
we'll get more into that later, but
I know.
neither Mark Pike or Daisy Riviera gave any credit to Pedro's statements that they made to them. And again, none of these people he supposedly shared this information with reported them to police. So these would have been statements from 30 freaking years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now, based on the tip from Pedro's brother in law, investigators executed a self described tactical plan to interrogate Pedro on May 23rd, 2012 at 7:45 a.m. 4 or 5 police cars pulled up outside of Pedro's home in New Jersey, where he was living with his second wife.
Yeah, NYPD detectives Jose Morales and David Ramirez identified themselves to Pedro as from the NYPD Missing Persons Squad and told him that his name came up in an old case and that they wanted to speak to him about it. Pedro agreed and accompanied them to Camden County Police Department. Ugh, don't ever do that.
I'm like, don't ever do that. But before Pedro got into one of the police cars, the police patted him down, asked him to empty his pockets, and place his possessions in a box in the trunk of the car. Now, he asked the police if it would be a long time because he needed to take medication at noon and a detective was sent to his house to pick up medication. Oh, isn't that so sweet?
I'm surprised they did that, to be quite honest with
I
you.
mean,
But
I kind of am too, but furthermore, we don't know.
now I want to stop right here and say that in New Jersey, where Pedro was initially being questioned, taping interrogations in homicide cases has been required by law since 2005. This was because of the growing movement supported by experts and numerous others in the legal field who believe that fully videotaping an interrogation from the minute a suspect enters the room to the minute they leave was the single most important factor in preventing false confessions that lead to wrongful convictions. Just putting it out there in New Jersey,
In
it's
Jersey.
illegal.
Now, Pedro is about to be interrogated by New York detectives and ADA, and it would be argued in court later that the law doesn't technically apply to them since it's not their jurisdiction.
Hmm.
But guys, I still find it shady as hell when the whole room is decked out and ready to go. I mean, especially in a case like this.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah. Now, the interrogation began at about 8:10 a.m. Now, while the detectives questioned Pedro about his upbringing, other officers purposely walked people from Pedro's past within his view to frighten him. And it
Mm-hmm.
was 2 hours before the detectives brought up Etan Patz. Guys, I know police use all kind of tactics when interviewing people, but I'm sorry. I don't think you should be able to walk people by because you don't know if one of them is triggering. If so, I
Oh,
just don't like it. I
they
just
were
don't like it.
hoping it was triggering. That's
I
what
don't like it.
they were hoping it was. Now, Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Armand Durastanti arrived around 10:30 a.m., observing the interrogation via a CCTV monitor. Durastanti asked an investigator if the interrogation was being video recorded. The investigator replied that it was not and asked Durastanti, sorry, I cannot say his last name, I apologize, but if he wanted the recording device in the room turned on. Durastanti responded by saying, "Why don't we just wait to see what happens?" Hmm, okay, okay, that
Um,
makes sense.
bullshit. I'm sorry. This is bullshit. If you have the ability to record, you should damn well record. And you're still on New Jersey turf, and it's the law.
Hmm, yeah. And you're the Manhattan Assistant District Attorney. Okay, okay.
Now, around noon, Detective Morales brought in Pedro's medication. After he placed a fentanyl patch on his chest and took some pills, he explained to the detectives why he was taking medication. He discussed it had been diagnosed with and treated in the past for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and other mental illnesses. Now, guys, I have to say I'm a little confused about the fentanyl patch. I know he had been injured, but the only time I've ever had a fentanyl patch was after cancer surgery,
Mm,
and it is for pain. So why would he be prescribed this? Because it doesn't just last a couple of hours, it lasts several days.
mhm.
And why the fudge sickles would you question someone while under the influence of fentanyl?
Agreed.
I mean, guys, I was just taking pain meds after my surgery just several weeks ago. There were times you could have gotten me to confess to anything. I don't remember a couple of days. I would have probably confessed to killing JFK.
Mhm. Yeah, the fact that they go on to question him, watching him put the patch up, like, come on.
And he tells you he's schizophrenic, he's bipolar. No,
Yeah.
no.
Now, at around 1 p.m., Pedro said that he had told the detective everything, that he wanted to go home. The detectives responded by leaving and sending in NYPD detective James Lamondola, who focused on Pedro's childhood and cyclical patterns of abuse. Pedro began to sob complained of stomach pains, and eventually laid on the floor in the fetal position and started to shake. Again, he asked to go home.
I
Mm.
mean, guys, excuse me. If he has to go home and he's not under arrest, I thought you had to fucking let him leave.
Yeah. And that's why you don't get in the cop car with cops unless you're under arrest. All right. You drive yourself to the police station. If they say no, you can't, then guess what? They're probably going to try to arrest you. So
Now, soon
don't do
Pedro
that.
became angry and accused Lemondola of trying to trick him. As Pedro cried, Lemondola continued to tell him that everybody needed to know the truth and that the truth had to come out now. I don't like this guy.
Oh, you
I
know,
don't
you're not
like
gonna like any of these guys.
I
But
don't
you know
like
what guy
any of
we
them.
do like? On Top X
Oh,
for the
yes.
super sticker. We love On Top X, don't we?
Yes.
Thank you for the super sticker on top and your support. You're amazing and
Thank
awesome.
you.
And I don't know who the mean mommy is, but we're all the good ones. Why didn't his office call a lawyer?
Oh, we're yeah. We're
We'll
yeah.
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
So at around 2 p.m. No, wait, is that where we are?
Yeah.
Okay. At around 2 p.m., Detectives Morales and Ramirez returned, joining Lamandola in the interrogation room. They continued asking him if he had anything to tell them about what happened in 1979. Pedro asked them if they were trying to pin what happened to that kid on him.
Guys, Pedro then repeated for a third time that he wanted to go home. The detectives told him, "Hey, we have a few more questions to ask you." And then after that, he could leave. Pedro then asked to speak to his wife, to which Detective Ramirez replied that they wanted to hear what he had to say first.
Yeah, at that point, after more than 6 hours of interrogation, Pedro Hernandez told the detectives for the first time that he did it. According to Detective Lamandola, Pedro said that he had seen Etan Patz standing outside the bodega and asked him if he wanted a soda. That Patz said yes and accompanied him into the basement of the bodega. That Pedro choked him and put his body in a garbage bag, and that he placed the bag in a box and left it in a trash area around the corner from the bodega. Hernandez could not explain his motive, but he denied it was sexual.
Guys, I just want to point out about this time frame that fentanyl patch has kicked in.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to point that out. Now, immediately after obtaining Pedro's confession, the detective read him a 6-question Miranda warning. You know, that thing that you're supposed to advise on when you first get there, not after. At this point, ADA Durastanti, I don't know, I don't like you. I think you're a prick. So, who was still observing from another room, requested that the video feed be recorded. Guys, this is sketchy as shit. You read the Miranda warning at the beginning, okay? And guys, just a reminder, if any police want to question you, ask for an attorney, even if you're not guilty, because we see way too often how sketchy some law enforcement are in agencies. Now, just think of the Commonwealth and Proctor if you want a recent reminder of shit that law enforcement likes to pull.
Oh, this one's a good old reminder, too, because this wasn't too long ago, kids.
I know.
So they've been talking since about 8:10 a.m., and their recording begins at 2:53 p.m. With Detective Ramirez asking Pedro the final Miranda question. Now that I've advised you of your rights, are you willing to answer questions? After Detective Morales interjected with, obviously, yeah, is that right? Pedro responded, yes.
Guys, let's stop and think. We know where his IQ level is. This man had no clue what the hell was going on.
I don't think so.
In my opinion. Now, Detective Lamondola then asked Pedro to repeat the statement he had given before being Mirandized, instructing him to start from the beginning and tell
Hmm.
us again exactly what you just told us about what happened.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens, huh? When Pedro did not immediately reply, the detectives began to prompt him. Pedro then provided an account almost identical to what he told the detectives before receiving his Miranda warnings.
Now, the detectives once again presented Pedro with Etan Patz missing persons poster and asked, "Is this the guy?" When Pedro said that it was, the detectives handed him a pen and asked him to write a confession on the poster.
Hmm.
Pedro asked the detective how to spell choke before writing on the poster, "I am sorry, I shook him," and signed his name.
This pisses me off because this was for PR.
Uh huh.
That's all this was for PR, arrest propaganda for the courtroom, to put it right there. Like this is the kind of bullshit that pisses me off. All
Yep.
right. And again, this man, I forget how old they said he was, 51?
Yeah.
Is that what they said? He
51.
doesn't know how to spell the word choke, guys.
That tells you.
I mean,
Scorpion 3 says back then a lot of New York City was on the take. This changed all of New York City. Kids,
mhm,
I remember the movie Big. They did a milk carton and all the New York City moms went nuts.
yeah,
I mean, they were not doing this for justice.
mm,
They were not,
I
in
don't
my
think so.
opinion. And I have goosebumps and I hate it. I just hate all of it.
Yeah. Well, at around 4 p.m. that day, detectives finally allowed Pedro to call his wife, Rosemary, and his daughter, Becky. He told them that, quote, a long time ago, he killed a child, a boy, and that he did not know why he did it, and that he would be in jail for the rest of his life.
The detectives then drove Pedro from the New Jersey precinct to Soho. At around 10 p.m., they arrived at the corner where the bodega was located in 1979. Pedro pointed out where he had first seen Etan Patz and identified two different street addresses where he might have left the box containing the garbage bag.
Shortly after, at about 11 p.m., the detectives then drove Pedro to the Manhattan DA's office. And he's still not arrested yet, I don't think.
Mm,
No.
mm-mm.
For the next 3 hours, Pedro intermittently slept on the couch and ate in the presence of police officers. Hmm.
Yeah. Now, at around 2 a.m., Pedro was taken to an interview room where he was interrogated by ADA Durastanti off and on until a little after 7 a.m. Now, Durastanti did advise him of his Miranda rights and then told Pedro, sorry, I know that you spoke to detectives yesterday. I want you to understand that the statement you're making here to me today has nothing at all to do with that statement. I want you and I to start brand new, okay? Guys, I need to remind you, he still has on that fentanyl patch that works for several days. And
Mm-hmm.
once again, how is this okay? This ADA should know better.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Pedro once again stated that he killed Aton, although certain details deviated from his prior confessions from earlier. He also made several additional statements that were inconsistent with one another. For example, although Pedro had told the detectives that he could not remember what Aton was wearing, he told Durastante that Aton had a jacket that was black or blue.
Now, near the end of the interrogation, Durasante asked him about his mental health. Pedro explained that his family had a history of mental illness and that he was bipolar and schizophrenic. He then told Durastante a detailed account of seeing and talking to a vision of his dead mother's ghost. He said, however, that he was unsure if this actually happened or if it was his imagination.
Yeah. At the very end of the interrogation, Pedro asked him about his right to counsel. that led to the following exchange that Terry and I are going to role play. I
Yes.
am going to be Hernandez, and you are going to be Derasante. Okay?
Ah, yes.
All right. Now, can I ask you a question? Now, I know you read my rights. Now, when you read my rights, you said that if I need an attorney, does that mean when I was talking to you that if I didn't want to answer you?
Yes.
Oh, that's what it meant?
Yes.
Oh,
That if you need, you can have an attorney if you want an attorney.
I would like to have an attorney to represent me, when if I were to go to court.
Oh, okay, right. If you were to go to court.
Yeah, I want that.
Right. No, you will have an attorney to represent you if you go to court.
Yeah.
But the question that I was asking was whether you wanted one now.
When I was talking to you?
Yeah.
No, because I don't have nothing to hide no more. Mm,
At this I mm,
the whole, well, yeah, you'll have one at court. Get,
yeah, um
shame.
I, that is deceitful, and I just yeah. So at this point, guys, approximately 24 hours had elapsed since the investigators first arrived at Pedro Hernandez's house. Okay, now Pedro was immediately arrested. Following his arrest, Pedro was taken to Bellevue Hospital for psychiatric treatment.
Yeah. After a month later, in June 2012, Pedro was transferred to Rikers Island and was evaluated by Dr. Flavia Robati, who does not have a good Google review, by the way. Pedro told Dr. Rabati that he had hurt a child and that he had confessed this to his first wife, Daisy.
He also told her that at the time of Etan's disappearance, he had command hallucinations telling him exactly what to do and started hearing other voices talking amongst themselves. Now, Dr. Rabati's assessment was that Pedro needed intensive psychiatric treatment, and she referred him to the mental observation ward at Rikers.
Which
Guys,
is a fucking nightmare.
I'm just thinking you're not getting a lot of help.
Mm-mm. Pedro was then evaluated by Dr. Michael First, who diagnosed him with schizotypical personality disorder. Dr. First testified that the disorder was marked by an inability to differentiate between what is going on in your mind versus what is occurring in the external world. Because I know when I want a confession by somebody, I want
Mhm.
them to not be able to know the difference between
That's
the
right.
two. Hmm.
Yep. Now, during a multi day evaluation, Pedro stated several times that he approached a little boy outside of the bodega, lured him into the basement, and choked him. Insisted there were other people in the basement with him, including older, gray haired people wearing nightgowns like a nursing home.
Hmm. That's
Guys,
just getting a little crazy. Hi, Kelly. As time passed after his arrest, Pedro began to express doubts about whether the events he had confessed to had actually occurred. Dr. First testified that changes in Pedro's confessions, along with his varying degrees of doubt, were the result of a weakening in his delusional conviction. All right, because he's starting to become a little lucid, and he's like, "Wait a second,
yeah, I'm
what?"
one thing I wish we knew, and I tried to do a little side research, were they giving him antipsychotic meds?
He was on antipsychotic meds when he was arrested.
I
Yes,
know, but were they changing them once they evaluated him,
probably,
started doing something to
probably.
yeah. Now, according to Dr. First, Pedro's delusional conviction was particularly strong after his arrest in May 2012, such that he then completely believed his statements were true. However, within a few months, his confidence in those memories had notably diminished.
Yeah. While Pedro was in jail, his attorney, Harvey Fishbein, was doing everything he could to get his confession thrown out. Hell, Pedro hadn't even been indicted yet. No.
which just makes my head spin.
Yeah, hadn't even been indicted.
So, you see, prosecutors made a highly unusual agreement with Fishbein. They agreed to hold off on going to the grand jury to give both sides more time to investigate.
Hmm.
And according to court records, the two sides were in frequent contact with one another for the next 6 months.
Yeah, if that's not showing a rush to judgment, I don't know what is, because I've never heard of a thing where,
Arrest and ask questions later, and then we'll
yes,
go to the grand jury.
yes, that's exactly the game that they're playing. Now, Fishbein would share all of Pedro's medical history with the prosecution, as well as all the reports from their psychiatric experts who examined him and his alleged confession. So,
I just have to say, Scorpion 3, I am glad that you and your brothers and sisters all survived because you're right. Son of Sam, slasher. New York City was
wild.
crazy in the 70s. It was
70s and
crazy in the 70s.
80s. What a wild time, man.
Now, Fishbein even made a fancy formal presentation to DA Cy Vance's office that fall, going over everything as to why Pedro shouldn't be charged. As a matter of fact, someone who knew about the meeting said Fishbein came out of it confident that he had persuaded the prosecutors to use their discretion and abandon the case. But Fishbein never heard back from the DA's office.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Sorry for the chopping sound, guys.
Instead, on November 14th, 2012, a New York grand jury indicted Pedro Hernandez on charges of 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree kidnapping. I can't even believe it at this point, but okay. Quote, this indictment is the outcome of a lengthy and deliberative process involving months of factual investigation and legal analysis, Eric Dugan, a spokesman for Vance, said in announcing the indictment. Let me dogs in.
Oh, I'm sorry, but Aaron Dugan, I know you're just doing your job and you're reading what you were told to read, but all of that is lies, in my opinion. So we believe the evidence that Mr. Hernandez killed Etan Patz to be credible and persuasive, and that his statements are not the product of any mental illness. The grand jury has found sufficient evidence to charge the defendant, and this is a case that we believe should be presented to a jury at trial. Excuse the hell out of me.
Okay, sure.
I mean,
Now,
did you get your medical degree? Are you a psychiatrist? Because for you to make that statement that is not a product of any mental illness
Mm.
bothers me. Hi, Kelly B. Yeah, it just bothers me. Look how much thinner he's getting. I don't know if you've noticed in the progression of the pictures.
Oh, yeah.
He's
When he was indicted in
2012.
2012. Yeah.
We
And this
should have
happened in
known better.
1979.
We should
Oh,
have known
yes.
better.
At this point, I'll give the 1979
I will too.
police some grace, I suppose, but this is
2012,
not
nope.
okay. You know better. You know better. Where were we? Okay, so Fishbein had said in a court document filed a month later, quote, in the 6 months since Mr. Hernandez's arrest, the NYPD and the New York County District Attorney's Office have conducted an intensive investigation attempting to corroborate Mr. Hernandez's statements. However, I am told by the District Attorney's Office that they have found nothing.
My thought is when Mr. Pates went and talked to the DA, way, when they were going to get elected and all that. They saw this as an easy way to say, I fulfilled my campaign promise. We reopened the case, and look, we caught the guy.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
now, Fishbein has said any such attempt will only cause more pain and disappointment for the Pates family and the city that was consumed with their tragedy. The really sad part of this case, Fishbein said, is that it will take time, it will take money, and it will not tell the city what happened to Etan Patz.
And he wasn't wrong. Pedro would continue undergoing psychiatric exams by experts on both sides. He met again with Dr. First in December 2014. He's been in prison or jail now for over 2 years, when within the same day, he stated both that the people in the basement, including some kids and some business people, some dressed up in hospital clothing, elephant colors, clowns, terry cloth type people, all over the place.
Yeah, because I don't know what elephant colors are, and I'm an elephant girl. So I don't know, but I'm going to tell you that basement is creepy as shit to me. I don't like basements. It's nothing like what we saw in Ohio. That basement was cool. This kind of creeps me out. Just saying.
Yeah, I think, no, thank you.
Yeah. Now, in 2014, while detained at Rikers, Pedro provided similar conflicting statements to Dr. Michael Wellner. Pedro stated that he had not seen the face of the child he choked, but that he nevertheless recognized his photograph on the news.
All right, we have a confession clip.
I went down to the basement. He followed me to the basement. And whatever happened there, it choked him. It was something that just happened like quick. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why it happened.
As you talk about it, are you surprised?
I don't even know if it happened.
Yeah, I think that's the end of that there. Yeah, said he doesn't even know if it happened. Again, a man whose reality, he doesn't know what is real and what's not real the majority of the time. But according to the state, there's nothing wrong with him. He's fine, guys. He's fine. He's fine. All right, let's get into my favorite part here, the problems with Pedro's confession. Now, Allison Redlick, who is one of the nation's top experts on false confessions and is a professor at the State University of New York, has identified several factors that occur and produce false confessions.
Now, a suspect with a very low IQ.
Yep, Pedro's, this is between 67 to 76.
Check. A suspect with a history of mental illness.
Check. Pedro had decades of diagnoses and had been taking antipsychotic medication for more than 10 years.
Check. A crime that has gained prominent media attention.
Etan's case was headline news and all over the internet because of the FBI dig in Othniel Miller's former basement workshop just the month before. Check.
A long interrogation where issues of fatigue or desperation can play a role.
His interrogation and confession was over a non-stop 24-hour period, and he complained of being in pain, being tired, and wanting to leave.
Check, check, check. That one gets 3 checks from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and a confession that, however compelling, is at odds with some known facts about the case.
For example, it had been established that investigators never believed that Etan made it as far as the bus stop where the bodega was. None of the bodega employees saw him there either. So, check.
Yeah, check. Now,
Hold on,
guys,
on Top X, thank you for the super sticker.
Thank
Again, I appreciate
you.
you. You are so generous and kind.
You are so generous and kind. Thank you. It's because Llama is a celebrity now, right?
Okay. All right,
Now,
sure.
I'm going to just say, everybody enjoy this. Jessley Hunescu Johnson.
Good job.
How did I do there?
You did great.
Viewed as a founding figure of the field of forensic psychology and an expert on the reliability of confessions, determined that without corroborating evidence, relying on the statements Hernandez made to police and prosecutors would be profoundly unsafe.
Mm-hmm. I wonder why. Let's talk about a few more discrepancies in Pedro's confession. Okay, Pedro said during his confession that after he strangled Etan, he tossed the boy's backpack behind a freezer in the bodega's basement. But that backpack was never found. Former NYPD officer Robert McKenna helped in the search for Etan the night of his disappearance and said that cops were all over the bodega that night because it was one of the only places you could get coffee and had a payphone because it's 1979, y'all. He said that the area behind the freezer in the basement would most assuredly have been searched. So,
Yeah. Now, in his confession, Pedro said that he had been bringing store products from the basement when he lured Etan downstairs. Some have said that this possibility was rather improbable. Apparently, the owner of the bodega, who had long passed, was vigilant about who had access to the basement. There was a lock on the sidewalk trapdoors and a locked gate underneath those. No one but the owner had keys to the basement, and the owner was very protective of the beer stored in there that he accompanied anyone who went in. It has also been said that it was highly unlikely Pedro would have been stocking anything because he would have been buttering rolls instead.
that's pretty damning.
That's pretty damning.
I mean, it makes sense, right? The basement is from like the sidewalk, like
Do we
save
have
the
to
beer.
save the beer? Really? Can we just save the wine?
But, that's some pretty damning reasons of why
Mhm.
Pedro's story simply couldn't have happened the way that he said that it did. And there doesn't seem to be any other opportunity for him to create it differently.
Yep.
Now, let's circle back to these so-called witnesses that Pedro apparently confessed to. We hadn't really gotten into them yet, but we're about to now. Let's start with Tomas Rivera. Now, he was the leader of a charismatic Christianity group at St. Anthony of Padua. I don't know, it's not my
Yeah, I
thing.
think we have a picture of it
A
too.
Roman Catholic church in Camden, New Jersey. Okay. He indicated that Pedro publicly confessed in a prayer group in the early 80s to having sodomized a kid in the basement of his workplace and then stabbed the child many times with a pointy stick. Riviera said that when he heard the confession, that he immediately told Pedro's family, who told him they would report it to the police. One of Pedro's sisters claims she told police in Camden, New Jersey 25 years ago that Pedro admitted to killing a little boy, but there is nothing backing up her claims. So,
Looking at her photo, I'm not judging, but I'm sorry. Guys, if the leader of a church hears something like that, they are mandatory reporters. Clergymen, unless it's told to them in a confessional type thing, why wouldn't they go and tell? Why would you just tell the family? Because the family's not going to go tell.
yeah, well, let's learn some more about Tomas.
Now, what Rivera said Pedro confessed to really doesn't match with his police confession, obviously. According to Rivera, Pedro said he killed and chopped the boy into pieces. He said he got him into the basement, chop him up into pieces, and put it into the trash bag, Rivera said. He was sad, like when you start crying, it's a motivation of repentance. I guess what he did.
Hmm. Now, if his recollection isn't enough to make you question his credibility, then maybe the fact that Tomas Riviera is also a publicly registered sex offender, who pled guilty to 2 counts of sexual assault and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. Riviera had at least 2 victims, one 6 years old and the other 9. It really, really repulses me, the number of child predators in this story. It's disturbing. It's so disturbing, but yeah.
It is so disturbing. It is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
So
he's leading these church prayer groups.
yeah.
This fucking guy.
And now that I'm thinking about it, a prayer group might be considered.
Oh, I don't think that's productive at all.
You
Actually,
don't think
even
so?
if he confessed in the 80s, I don't think there were mandated reporters in the
Okay.
80s.
Well,
But
let's
I
because there's still a lot more.
yeah.
Yes, Scorpion 3, it does get more crazy. Let's move on to Mark Pike, Pedro's early 80s Camden, New Jersey neighbor. Pike's recollection was that Pedro told him a story about a black child who threw a ball at him when he was working behind the counter of the bodega and told Pike that he had lost it, strangled the boy, disposing of his body in a rolled up rug that he hid behind the bodega.
Mm. Pike said he didn't believe the story at all and that Pedro was just trying to be a tough guy, and he laughed at him. Even when writing up his report in 2012, he stated that he had doubts that this story was true. After Pedro's arrest, investigators went back to talk with Mark and showed him a picture of Etan Patz.
And then he said, then I thought this must have been the kid because they came back and said he confessed. Said he confessed in a conversation he had with me, Pike said. Obviously, this confession by Pedro doesn't make any sense either. Etan was obviously not black or even biracial. And guys, where would Pedro had even been able to discreetly find a rug to put his body in? And once again, everywhere around that bodega was searched.
Yeah, the story doesn't check out. I don't think Mark, by the way, I don't know anything bad about Mark. I just know he's like the only person in the story where I'm like, okay, he sounds like he's just been brought in. He doesn't seem nefarious to me.
No,
Because he didn't take it seriously. And
I
why
don't
would
like that
you?
red balloon or red ball in that picture. Just saying.
A little too much like
See, Bells, you see what I'm thinking about? I'm going Pennywise is down there. Why are
Yeah.
we showing that balloon?
Well, Jose Ramos was
I know.
living in that drain pipe. Didn't forget about that. But anyway, apparently it somehow made a lot of sense to the state as they had Mark Pike testify before the grand jury that indicted Pedro with a story that doesn't match up at all. At all. Has him
Do
testifying
you
in front of
not?
the grand jury.
I just thought of something. Did you notice Thomas Rivera? It's the same last name as Daisy's.
Oh,
Did they? It just hit me, and
Hmm.
I've been looking at this for
I don't know.
weeks. Did they?
Are they like related in some way?
Are they
Maybe
related some way,
I don't
or
know.
did she get remarried to him?
I don't know. I have all the
Okay,
questions
I'm
now.
gonna. Okay, Kappa noticed it too. Okay, I'm gonna have to. That
She
maybe it's
says
just
she doesn't think
coincidence.
so.
There's so many
I
names
mean,
that are the
Riviera is a
same.
pretty popular
But you know
person.
what? In New York, I'm gonna just say their name's the same. They must have been married. They must be related because that's how much evidence you need.
And for this case,
For this case, that's all you
that's
need.
enough. They've
That's
been
enough.
married this whole time.
Yep.
That's
Done.
all you need for New York, apparently. So he testifies before the grand jury, and then there's Daisy Riviera. Speaking of Daisy, who I don't think it's too unfair to say most certainly had a contentious relationship with Pedro over the last several days. I mean, she's one of the people that the police walked past him when they were interrogating him. And Pedro's first statement when he sees her walk down the police hallway was, "Is this about child support?" When their children would have been grown by this time. And he's like, "Oh, that bitch has me in here for child support again." Anyway,
That tells you he has some trauma over child support that she put him through.
I mean, I get it, but also
I
she
get it.
seems a little, ugh.
Yeah. Now, let's not
Sorry,
forget,
Daisy.
she repeatedly told ProPublica that Pedro never talked of harming a young child in his past. So let's pull up her quote again from ProPublica. If he said, "Listen, Daisy, I have a confession to make. I killed a 6-year-old child. I have it in my heart that I wouldn't have gone forward with the marriage," she said.
Mm,
"I wouldn't have proceeded with the marriage. Why would you hurt a 6-year-old child?"
right? Okay. Okay. Oh, on top
Oh,
X sending another super sticker. Okay, you
thank
are so
you.
nice tonight,
You
sir. Thank
are.
you for all your support. Oh, we're just clicking all the time.
Oh,
Oh, thank you so much. We love that. Thank
we
you.
have to remember she showed up at his wedding. Okay, let's not forget that.
Hmm. Now, Daisy would go on and tell investigators and eventually jurors that in 1982, shortly before the couple got married, Pedro told her that he had killed a man in New York. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know if I would have still married somebody who said that they just murdered somebody. But
I personally wouldn't, but we all have different levels of what we're willing to live with.
I guess. And for her, I guess that was fine. Quote, he said this person had approached him and he had felt violated. He said it had gotten out of hand and ended up that he had put his hands around the person's neck and he had strangled him. Then he had put him in the dumpster and that he had covered him with some plastic bags. He threw something over the body. He was emotional. He cried. Daisy testified. Sorry, but
Not
really?
yeah. So she also said that over a year later, she found a shoebox of Pedro's that contained a black and white image of Etan torn from one of the iconic missing posters of him. She said she confronted Pedro about it.
He became nervous. He explained to me that the child had disappeared within the area where he worked. So I asked him, why did he take that photo? And he said he just took it because he knew the family.
Now, interestingly enough, when it came to the photo of Etan, when Daisy was interviewed before Pedro's arrest, she said nothing about finding the photo. Okay.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't until after his arrest that she mentioned it as if it was some, trophy he had kept. Oh, I forgot.
Mm. I'm sorry. I'm not Team Daisy. I'm not saying she's lying. I have questions. I have a lot of questions regarding her motivation, the
Yeah.
things she said. And here's the thing, too, is I don't think that her interviews with police were taped either.
Yep.
And I do have a problem
I,
with that as well,
Mhm.
because how much info did they feed her or
Mhm.
feed Mark or feed, anyone else that they talk to?
Yeah.
Can't trust them because of the dumb shit they've already pulled. So that's great.
Okay,
Oh,
on
wow.
top,
Okay.
you gave us another super sticker. Thank you. I'm glad I put on a pink shirt
And pink shirt's
tonight.
lucky. No, on top
Yes.
is one of our wonderful supporters.
Yes, you
We
are amazing, but there is so many problems with all of these just there's something wrong with all of them.
Yeah, and him having a picture of the kid because he knew the family. I mean, he may not have known the family on like a level, but I'm sure they frequented the bodega quite often. He
Absolutely.
could have somewhat been familiar, but also this is how many years previously,
Right.
even at this time when she finds this box. Like, and we're talking about a man who is pretty much an unreliable narrator.
Right.
Okay.
Agreed.
So, anyway, you guys, so as we kind of hinted at previously, this two-parter is now going to be a three-parter. Yes, we're going to have to stop right here on the story because we couldn't really gloss over the evidence against Pedro Hernandez or his confession because it is going to be a big factor in next week's story where we discuss his trials. Oh, did I say trials? Spoilers. Yeah. Yep, you heard. You heard. So with that, and I hope you guys don't mind that we wanted to spend a whole episode talking about the confession, but it is really important to go bit by bit by bit because it just keeps getting more outlandish the more that this goes on. And if you think the trials are any better, no. We're dedicating a whole episode to those trials, so it does not get better. All right, so let's get into our closing thoughts for the night. I think it's pretty obvious that there's nothing that pisses me off more than situations like this one, where I don't feel like Etan Patz in getting justice for him was ever really the focus here.
Agreed.
I don't at all.
Agreed.
This very much feels like this is about local politics and power, where for a select few, the end justifies the means. I mean, to me, it is plain as day, but I understand it's not for everybody. But you see this one time, you start seeing it more. And at this point in 2012, everyone involved in this story knows better. And shame on them. Shame on them. They knew better. You know, that Pedro Hernandez seemed to fall into their lap, and that once they realized he's a simpleton, for lack of a better term, the case closed, campaign promises met, we're all heroes, nothing to see here. Oh my God, it's infuriating. And I'm going to save the rest of my rant for part 3 when we tie everything in together, because then I will probably have like a page of my closing thoughts. Like, oh, really? And I will too. So you'll definitely want to watch next week because it's very relevant even in 2025. I think some of you might be shocked.
I mean, the fact that this happened in 2012, I'm not sure how I think about this because, like I said, in the 70s, I could be a little more forgiven. Okay, I could, but I can't. Just the way they handled this, the way they screwed up everything, the police took advantage of Pedro. And I think they broke the law.
Well, that's argue in court they didn't, but
I know, but I'm sorry. If you are questioning someone on New Jersey soil, you follow New Jersey law. I don't care where the police is from. That's just my 2 cents. Because if you give police that little bitty scapegoat, they're going to be using it all over. And you've got the technology. They knew they were doing something wrong is the reason the guy said, oh, no, let's just see how it's going to go.
See what happens.
He knew they were doing it wrong. And that just shame on you. And I hope all of them can't sleep. And I'll save the rest till next week. Because I don't want to go to bed mad tonight.
Yeah, they were being shady. They wanted the glory.
Yep. They were shady. And the politician who got elected, shame on you. You made a promise to do the right thing and give the family justice.
Well, and remember, he also ran on the campaign to record all interviews.
And
it's fun. It's so much fun. Wait till we open up the next episode regarding Cyvance. So anyway, let's wrap up the show for tonight.
And remember, you can join me at CC Wine and Company for a gripping live podcast recording of True Crime and Wine Time. And guys, we are talking about the chilling details about Bastrop's most infamous murder, okay? It is the 1996 killing of Stacy Stites and the decades-long controversy surrounding Rodney Reed's conviction. I'll be there September 13th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Guys, this is a case that it's kind of like what we're talking about tonight. There's a lot of stuff in there that you're going to be like, how in the hell did this happen?
Mm.
And it's being appealed right now. So
Yes, yes, I can't wait to hear it all laid out. But I don't know much about it. I've only heard bits and pieces from Terry, so I cannot wait to hear her presentation on this for sure. Now, before we go, if you like what you heard tonight, be sure to follow all of our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free. Or if you're listening to our pod, again, please download, rate, leave a review, whatever the platform tells you to do. They can vary depending on. So whatever it's needed, please do that. It helps us tremendously in getting our channel out there.
and guys, because you're here tonight, Llama knows this, and I think we said it on Couch Court, but there will be more details and tickets will go up soon. We have another live show coming up that I will be doing in November, on November 22nd.
Mhm.
It will be covering the Chase Lackey case, and it is Chase Lackey's birthday, and we will be in his town, and his family will be there. So that is coming. So instead of doing a live update and recap in September, we're going to hold on to it and do a full 2-hour show in November.
Oh, wow. Are you sure 2 hours is going to be enough?
It's not going to be enough. Now, for our members, we will not be able to live stream because the venue doesn't have the bandwidth to do it, but we will record it and release it immediately to our members. Yes, Bells, it will be in Crosby, Texas. That is close enough for you to drive and come and see me.
Uh-oh.
That's
That's
just a hop,
exciting.
skip, and a jump. In fact, Bells, the guy who owns the restaurant we're having it, lives in Port Neches. It's a whole little thing. So now next week on True Crime and Wine Time, we are going to bring you part 3 of the Etan Patz case. And we will be exclusively talking about the trials of Pedro Hernandez. And guys, if you thought we ranted tonight, you're in for a treat.
Mm.
Okay. It's going to be us on ranting steroids next week. So you want to be sure to set your alarm for Thursday, hit that notification button, because next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, we are going to be back and bring you some more insanity.
Yeah. It's a damn shame. It makes me angry. The whole thing. The
It's,
boy deserves so much
our
better as
facial
his family.
expressions are just priceless. Just saying.
They really are. Now, if you need more of Terry, True Crime, and I, you can always find us doing something on our True Crime and Wine Time YouTube channel. While Terry is making her way back to the screen, she's doing things in baby steps. But you know what? Midday Missing's returning this coming Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm very happy for you to come back with that show. It's so important and has such a great message. Now, while that's going on, Couch Court with Llama is back right now, covering the Florida versus Donna Adelson trial. And oh boy, it has been something. And I'm usually live around 8:40 a.m. Eastern, but court can be courty some days, but it's usually before 9. So be sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we go live or drop an episode. Is there anything else you would like to say before we go for a
I
sign
just
off?
want to say with Midday Missing coming back, oh, there's no court on Monday, so we don't have to
Oh,
worry about
yeah.
that on Monday, right?
No. Mm-mm. We only
Okay.
have to worry about Wednesday.
So we only have to worry about Wednesday.
Mhm.
No, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for listening, watching, and supporting us. It really means a lot. I got all sappy the other day and told y'all how much I really missed you guys while I was out. And you guys are just amazing. So please stay safe. Watch out for crime. If you see something, say something and enjoy your wine time because we need it.
Yes, thank you everyone for listening and supporting us. Until next time, take care of your mind, take care of each other, and never stop asking the hard questions. Now, everyone, go forth and be amazing. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.